Good morning. We're here today to talk about tile installations and how to keep floor tiles clean from their initial installation. What we've got today is we've actually got a commercial floor. We're going to show you how to keep clean and get a lot of the contaminants off the surface that have occurred during the installation process. So what we've got is one of the tiles that we've installed here. This is actually an impervious material. It's got moisture absorption of less than 0.5%. So these materials are not able to be stained. Everything is actually contained on the surface. The difficult part about a post-install is to actually make sure that we're actually identifying what the marks are on the surface so that we can actually remove them. If we don't identify what they are, they're very difficult to remove. So let's go through that process by process. Okay, so this floor has been installed and it's been grouted. There are many different types of grouts we can use in an installation like this. This floor was actually done with an epoxy grout. These materials are very different to using a cementitious type grout that's typically used on a floor. You can see the marks here that have been left. These have been left to dry and set. So once these materials cure, they're very difficult to remove. So we need to make sure that we've got installation process sheets from the suppliers and the manufacturers to understand how to remove these during the installation so we don't give them time to cure on the surface. Same with cementitious grouts. If this was a cementitious floor, once we've actually put the grout into the floor, we wash it, we clean it, we make it look like brand new. We don't leave any of those cementitious materials on the surface. Those cementitious materials, once they start to cure, all they do is they disappear into the surface. You don't see it, but they actually start to collect the dirt onto the cement itself, not the tile. So they become very stubborn over time. So once again, the grouts, during the installation process, they must be completely removed as if they're being showroom finished on the day. Okay, so this particular stain here, this floor is in operation and we've actually got a really large dried section of grease on this floor. It's actually stiffened, the material is actually hardened. You can roll your finger over it and you'll see a vast majority of it's removed, but you'll still end up with a hardened material on the surface that will collect more dirt. So unless this grease is removed with an alkaline, it will actually stay there. Trying to remove it with an acid won't work. An essential part of a cleaning kit is the power paste, the super solvent, clout, which is it actually breaks down grouts, cementitious materials. It's a phosphoric acid cleaner. If you can't find phosphoric at your general hardware store, find your pool chemical companies, pool supplies, or your typical tile shop will have a product that is a phosphoric based cleaner for removing grout residues that are cement based or calcium based or lime based contaminants left on the surface of the floors. So if we actually look at the power paste, you can use it on just about most of the general stains on the surface. These are actually wheel marks left by a forklift. This material here is just general dirt and grime, but it removes generally most build-up contaminants on the surface of these floors. So once we've removed all these silicons, all these greases and leftover residue epoxy grouts, we're going to go over the machine with the actual Tomcat oscillating head machine, and we'll bring this floor back up to brand new. This floor has had an expansion joint put right through the center of it. As you can see here, the marks either side is the silicon remain that hasn't been cleaned off during the installation process. Once it hardens, you can see the dirt collect and stick to the silicon compound that's left on the surface of the tile. This needs to be removed, otherwise they become unsightly, and during normal routine cleaning, the material won't be able to be removed and you'll see a very large dirty mark down the middle of the floor. Clean it once, it'll be gone. So what we'll do is we'll show you how to remove these silicon marks after the installation. But the person in charge, the supervisor, we need to make sure these are done during the post-installation clean, or preferably during the installation process itself. What we do is put a liberal amount of the material onto the surface, a Scotch-Brite, any type of Scotch-Brite, whether it be a green one, a blue one, a black one. We actually just scrub the surface where the silicon is. Okay, so you can see here during an industrial use, we've got a build-up of contaminations under the floor here. These continue to build and we'll need to identify exactly what these are. It appears to be a material that can be easily removed with our fingers, but you'll see this white stain on the surface of the material and the other markings. These will need to be identified what was actually used here so that we can actually remove these stains as well. Obviously the basic thing when we come to cleaning a floor is doing the first essentials. Need a broom, just give it a quick sweep, make sure we remove all sort of loose contaminants on the surface, and then we use any of these sorts of scrapers to remove any plasters or set material on the surface. Because those big lumpy chunky pieces of contaminants left on the surface, what we generally find is the chemicals can't eat them. So if we remove them and we've got a really thin layer, it gives the chemicals the best chance to remove any leftover material on the surface. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about the different cleaning machines that we can use, or apparatus that we can use to actually removing dirt off the floor itself. Obviously, the mop and bucket. Always start with clean water and always make sure that the mop head is a lint-free mop, not just a regular mop when we're cleaning slip-resistant floors. If we use a regular mop when we're cleaning slip-resistant floors, we'll find that the mop itself will shred and will leave all the fibre all over the floor, and it'll build up and up and up over time. So a lint-free mop is always the best option. Clean water is essential. We don't just take the mop, put it back in the cupboard and bring it back out with the same dirty water and move it around the floor. If we're to use a mop and bucket, we need to be mindful that we're trying to actually remove the dirt from the surface. So as we remove the dirt, we put it into the bucket, we need to clean the mop water out and put new water in, so we're putting new water on the surface. So the second typical item we use is a rotating head. These machines are typical in applications where mechanical cleaning with a mop and bucket isn't heavy enough duty. This one here is a really, really heavy duty nylon with a corundum chip in it. And the problem with these types of circular heads is they are so abrasive they'll actually remove the slip-resistant material from the surface of the tile. They'll pre-age the tile dramatically. These are never ever to be used in cleaning floors. So be aware, corundum brushes are never to be used on slip-resistant floors. Typically, if the contaminants are on the surface are set, we need to find what chemical will help us remove those stains on the surface. We don't just go and find something more abrasive. So these can work quite effectively. Wet mop the floor, we can go over the surface, but the surface itself is just receiving a circular cleaning motion. So it has some effect, but it's not best use of your time. We'll go through this machine here, and it's called the Tomcat. The Tomcat series is actually the Edge machine. There's a stick, there's a nano, and there's the larger walk-behind machine. We're going to show you this new technology that we believe is best practice in cleaning floors. So after seeing the mop and bucket and this typical rotating head cleaner, we're going to move into what is now modern technology and what we believe is a really good solution to cleaning slip-resistant floors inside or out, in small confined areas, or we go into large industrial commercial spaces. Whether it be shopping centres, whether it be bars, restaurants, there's a solution for all these areas. So first machine we're going to show you out of the Edge series from Conquest is the actual Nano. And the Nano is a small version that enables us to put a variety of different pads onto the bottom, depending on the amount of abrasion we want. But we don't need to use heavy abrasion pads in any application for cleaning these days, because once we've got the floors down, swept them and got most of the contaminations off the surface from the original construction clean, all we're now using is anything from water, clean warm water, to light chemicals, whether they be alkaline or acids, depending on what we're trying to remove from the surface. The difference between this type of cleaning equipment and what we typically see is these heads oscillate. So let's show you what the difference between an oscillating head is and a typical cleaning head. So this is a cleaning machine that has an oscillating head, and the difference is it vibrates rather than circulates. On these slip-resistant tiles, there are lots and lots of little tiny teeth creating the friction we need to stop people falling over, to create a safe environment, which is what it's all about. But to get these machines to be able to actually get into the micro surface of all the different little teeth on the surface makes a massive difference when we go to clean. So there are three sizes that we see here today, and there's also a sit-on version, but this one here great for getting into small areas. This one here is the stick, and the stick has many different types of heads. You can see that you can use really soft fabric type of heads for vinyls and timbers. You can go through the white pads to blue pads. This has actually got a tile cleaning pad on it, and we'll show you how these two machines work separately in a bathroom application in a moment. But first, we're going to take you through a larger floor area with a larger machine. This one here, the Tomcat or the Mini Mag, we use this for spaces in excess of 100 metres. So where we've got a big restaurant or we start moving into bigger commercial spaces, we can do areas of up to 1,000 metres very comfortably, and these machines take no more chemicals. In fact, we recommend them with water more than we do with chemical. Beautiful thing is they'll clean just as fast as any other cleaning methodology you have. They'll work just as fast as any other cleaning brand in the market. But the beautiful thing is we actually get into the micro surface of the tile, and over time we'll continue to remove more and more dirt off the surface than typical cleaning machines. So now we're going to actually give this whole floor a clean and show you the difference a really good clean job can do on a slip resistant material. Okay, so we've completed our on-site construction clean. This floor had been operating for some time, but we've been able to manage all the silicone off the joints. There's still spots of epoxy left here and there. This floor has been installed now for over 8 months. So by removing a lot of the epoxy, it's certainly enhanced the way the floor looks. But by removing all the silicone or the grease or the heavy contaminants that are built up on the floor, it looks absolutely fantastic. This floor in total took no more than an hour. From this point on, cleaning it daily, cleaning it weekly, it should take no more than 15 minutes or a normal floor clean. Okay, so for smaller areas and cleaning smaller bathrooms or bars, it's the same situation as the previous video. Basically, we're dealing with impervious material. These tiles have moisture absorption of less than 0.5%. So when we put them on the floor and we end up with a lot of contamination on the surface of the material, all we've got is surface-borne contaminations. They can't enter into the surface of the tile. So as such, we have a floor here that is adjacent to a warehouse. It's got lots and lots of really dirty contaminations on the surface. What we're going to do today is actually show you the difference between mechanically cleaning a floor and actually doing it manually. So we can deal with a mop and bucket, or we can do it with a mechanical cleaning machine that will make your life really enjoyable, make it so much easier, and you'll end up with really nice, immaculate, clean floors all the time. So let's go through it step by step. Firstly, let's get the mop and bucket and see how it works, and then we'll go on to the mechanical cleaner. Okay, so we've got a mop and bucket, and we've basically laid out a light chemical, just a neutral cleaning chemical. And what we're going to do is we're going to leave those chemicals on there for 2 or 3 minutes. That's what they call dwell time. It's really important and is recommended by most cleaning companies with their chemical. So when we put it on, we allow the chemicals to actually eat into the contaminations on the surface for a period of time, allowing them to what they call actuate, or actually react with the dirt that is actually sitting in the surface. Then we're going to get a scrubbing brush and we're going to give it a bit of a scrub, and we'll then remove the dirt that's on the surface. Okay, so giving it a quick scrub. Remember, this floor hasn't been cleaned for about 12 months. It's had an enormous amount of built up contamination on the surface. We've given it a hand scrub with a brush. You can get these with a broom handle, you can get them with scouring pads, you can get a whole lot of varieties. But effectively what we're trying to do is agitate the dirt out of the surface by hand. So let's get the mop and we'll have a look and see how it comes up. See, these 4 tiles, after a really quick brush, have come up back to their original condition. But what I'd like to do is actually show you how to use a mechanical cleaner on these as the best investment. They save an enormous amount of time, they reduce chemical, and they last and last and last. So a typical nano scrubber that we're about to show you costs about $2,000, depreciated over 5 years. We're talking about $1 a day. So if you want to go and use a mop and bucket, go for it. If you'd like to use a nano, what you'll find is the value is immense. These machines are designed to save us time, effort, they're ergonomic. Most important part is you can actually clean these floors from this point on. Once you've removed all these initial contaminations off the surface, you can actually clean these floors daily with the nano. All you do is you wet mop it with water, you go over it with a nano, you pick up the water with the mop, and you'll end up with a brand new floor every day. There's no need to use chemicals once you've removed all these heavy contaminations off the surface. Okay, so we just used the little Edge Series Nano Scrubber on the first part of this floor. As you can see, it gets into all the very tight corners. You can get in behind toilet pans, under benches, on stairs, all the difficult and hard to place areas to clean. It came up absolutely brilliantly in no time at all and very, very little effort. Now we're going to try and use the Edge Series stick machine. Now this machine is 10 times the size of the Nano. The beautiful part about this machine is you can do the bigger areas, like the bigger floor plate areas of bathrooms. You can do small restaurants or good sized restaurants. You can do patios, balconies. This machine rips through the work and it works highly effectively, once again, just with water. So this floor, all we've done is wet mopped it with water, no chemical. Let's see how it comes up. All the chemicals you can actually see on the surface here, all these bobbles and suds, are actually the leftover mop and bucket residue from plonking some chemical into the water and just running the mop across the floor weekly as a process. And it just builds up and up and up over time. So all we did here is we used really clean, fresh water, and we've run the machine over it, and it's agitated all those chemicals out of the surface. Now when I get the mop, let's see how it comes up. We can see that floor, without any chemical at all, has come up in a brand new condition. Those tiles have got no dirt on them whatsoever. And the brush that we put on the bottom of that Edge stick machine was actually like AstroTurf. It doesn't even have any abrasives in it, so it's as soft as soft. So it doesn't do any damage to the floor. The slip resistant values of these floors will stay intact for 10, 15, 20 years. So the benefit of mechanical cleaning is it's fast, it's efficient, and most importantly, you drop chemicals out of your cleaning processes as much as possible, which saves time, money, and effort. And it's much better for the environment. Okay, so we've now completed the clean in the bathroom here. It's a small bathroom, it's about 5 to 7 metres. If you want to continue to use a mop and bucket, it's hard work. All we're doing is moving dirty water around. But what we've got here is a brand new floor as it was the day it was installed. So cleaning technologies are there. Slip resistant materials are harder to clean than normal flooring. We know that. But there is no more difficult a process than trying to do it by hand. If we use our slip resistant flooring materials, please go to these particular mechanical cleaning machines and you'll have no problems from today on. Thanks very much, everyone.